Hey everyone, welcome back to a new episode of In the Cup, and we have a very special guest, but not a stranger to the podcast, my bestie, Brittney. Hi, friend. How are you?
Hello. Happy
Thanks
to be
for
back.
joining us today, Amanda.
Of course.
Well, so we record this podcast, and we do it obviously because we love all of the golf things, the sports things, and the girly things. But, we are corporate girlies as well. So sometimes we have to do our actual jobs and other adulting responsibilities. So Amanda couldn't join us this week, but Brittney was very gracious enough to join us, and she's going to bring us all of the golf facts, right, Britt? You're on it?
That's right. All the sports,
Yep.
I've got it.
Perfect. Well, we'll start first with our weekend updates, or for you, our Reagan had a very big milestone this week.
She did. She started first grade.
Yay, Reggie.
It's crazy though because it's August and I just remember back home, Massachusetts, we wouldn't start this early. So I know that like a lot of kids haven't actually started yet and we've already started. So, because we don't usually have the snow days to make up for and stuff. However, we do now have hurricane days. So
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like snow. Do they do the same thing? Like they add it on if you miss days because of hurricane?
I think if it's like a certain amount, whereas like back home, 1 or 2 snow days wouldn't add on to the future dates, but multiple days could.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened. But yeah, that's where we're at.
We'll pray for no hurricanes because I'm going to be there in a few weeks. So we knock on wood.
I was literally just about to say, let's knock on wood because I don't want none of that either.
But I feel like the summers are just getting shorter because here in California, school has started this week. My niece, Liv, starts school on Thursday, but she got out, I think, the first or second week of June. So for them, it just flies by so quickly. She was asking my sister-in-law today if she could be homeschooled next year because she was just like, the summer was too short. But also she is going into middle school and transitioning to a new school. So I think it's all of the new things for her.
The nerves, all of it. Yes.
Yeah. And 100%. She does public school. So it's harder because a lot of the kids that she went to grade school with, so I think they split now into 3 different middle schools. So she's not going to be at the same school. She'll have new people. She has like the normal schedule where you're rotating through classes and things like that. So I'm curious to see how the transition will be. But I think it'll be fun.
Listen, she's a social butterfly. She will do great things. She will do great things. So nothing to worry about there. I think it's just, new nerves and it's kind of exciting, but scary. So she'll get through it for sure.
Yeah. Was there anything that they did for Riggs' first week of first grade?
Not anything that was like crazy or, outside of her norm, but their booster-thon's going to be coming up. So probably going to be trying to raise money for the school and stuff. So that'll be fun. And then when the actual day comes, we get to like squirt them with water while they're running their laps and stuff. It's actually really cute. And they're so little that they're wearing these t-shirts that are like, at least 3 sizes too big for them. So by the time they're done, like the shirts are just kind of falling off of them. I'm like, make sure you keep your undershirt on. You're a lady.
Why wouldn't they buy, if they know that they're going to have kids this small, why don't they buy a smaller t-shirts? Well, seems like an easy solution.
She might be like the anomaly. She's little.
Yeah. She's a
Some
little
of them
bubby.
fit in them. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do look forward to the fun run every year because TT makes her annual donations.
Cute.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to see my goddaughter in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I know. We're so excited for you to come.
For me, very exciting thing. I got LA 28 tickets for the Olympics for women's golf, which is 2 years away. But as we know, time just has been flying by.
Even with it being 2 years away, it's still kind of crazy because it's like impossible to get tickets to any of those events.
Yeah.
So I just feel like you hit the lottery in a way, even though you paid for it, but they're not so easy to come by. So I think that's a win and it'll be a fun, exciting time. And it's in your home state.
Yeah. I'm dreading driving up to LA because, obviously we did it. So you know how crazy that drive can be. But if you're into sports and just if you're into I don't know, things in general. I think the Olympics is such a unique experience that not a lot of people get to do. And yes, it being here in California, going to a sport that I actually like to watch, because the first drop that they did, I don't know, I don't remember if I told you, but it was not that these sports aren't important, but they're just not on the top of my list. But it was like badminton and archery, and I'm like, whoa. And the ones that I was going for weren't even, I think, the most popular, like golf, tennis, indoor volleyball, which I guess is popular. The tickets were pretty expensive. They were like $600 for indoor volleyball. But yeah, the process has been kind of wonky, and a lot of times with big events like this, it is hard to get tickets. So I will count myself lucky. So July 2028, I will be.
Well, I was also
in
going
LA.
to say it's totally not wrong for you to say it's not that you're uninterested in those other Olympic sports, but it's like, this is what I'm really into and what I really wanted, and you got it. So I think that's something to be excited about for sure. And I'm sure that the people that got the indoor volleyball and archery tickets, like, were equally as excited because that's their thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, Nicole, who I golf with, I think she was going after the like Taekwondo, because her and her family are into MMA. I think she did karate and stuff, or Taekwondo or karate growing up. So that's like what she was into. So it was kind of interesting to hear someone else's interest. Like, I wouldn't have picked up those tickets.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to see, because there's so many sports in the Olympics that you're right. There's a little something for everyone. So
It's so true, because then you're also kind of like, how and when did you get into said sport in your life? Like, I just don't, I only know, your basics like basketball and football and, golf now, but I didn't always know.
Yeah.
So here we go. Maybe we're going to get into archery soon.
Yeah. I'm sure there's someone as into handball as I am into golf. Well, we got a while to report on that one if the podcast sustains until 2028. But yes, very excited. But since we have Britt on the podcast, one of the golf adjacent things we love to do is all of the Crime Junkies things. And Amanda was actually the one who introduced me to the Crime Junkies podcast. I don't know when I started listening to it, if you had already started listening to it, but she introduced me to that podcast.
Like actual Crime Junkies? Like,
yeah,
with
Britt
and
Ashley
Britt?
Flowers. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh, I've listened to them for a really, really long time. Britt went through some medical things maybe a few years back, and
yeah,
her story is just really sweet because I believe that she has some adopted children. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that that's part of her story in her life. But they are both so sweet and so nice, and I can totally love and appreciate the fact that they're bringing light to cases that are unsolved. And so that's the downfall, right? Because we all always want to be like, well, what happened? What's the resolution? But there are so many families and cases out there where they don't have it. And sometimes podcasts like this one kind of shed light on it and kind of bring new view into it, and maybe new people to, kind of speak up. So I love that podcast. Sure. I think they're great.
They actually have a new, I don't know if you've watched or listened to the newer episodes, but they have a new reporter correspondent as part of their podcast too, that does updates, especially on cases that are ongoing, like the Nolan Wells case. They did an update, and she does some of those shorter segments. So I think Britt and Ashley Flowers are still doing the main episodes, but they've grown a lot since I started listening to them before COVID. So now they're doing YouTube and all this stuff. But you introduced me to the OG Dateline, Keith Morrison.
I mean, Keith.
I know.
I do not care. Nobody beats Keith.
The one thing about Dateline, though, that I dislike is that it starts so late, and it's 2-hour episodes. So it starts at 9. So I'll start watching, and then it'll start getting good, right? You're starting to get into it, figure it out. And then I fall asleep, and then I don't know what happened.
It's just about past my bedtime.
Yeah. I'll be halfway through and I'll doze off, and then all of a sudden the episode's over. I'm like, dang it. I don't know what happened.
It's all right. You can always watch it the next day.
I know.
On Peacock.
I know. I just like watching it in the moment. But the reason why I bring up the Crime Junkies is because, as everyone if you've been listening to the podcast, especially with the episodes that Britt has been on, we both were living in Massachusetts, and one of the biggest cases right now happened in Duxbury, Massachusetts, with a woman named Lindsay Clancy. Back in 2023, she is on trial right now for the deaths of her 3 young kids. And it's a tricky case because Lindsay, if you've been following the case, suffered from postpartum depression, which a lot of women suffer from. And unfortunately, a lot of the times I think it's just kind of been blown over. And it's like, something that, it happens. You'll be fine in a few weeks, in a few months. But obviously in this case, it kind of led to these events with her kids. But I don't know what your thoughts are. And I think the social media lawyers and crime junkies have kind of taken over.
No, that's the hard part, right? To separate reality and the real facts of the case and what people think and feel. But it's hard not to have feelings as a mom and as a woman in relation to, postpartum and any type of depression that you might feel or that you're feeling. And I just don't think that it should go without saying that it was very clear that she was looking for some help. So whatever way it goes, I feel very, very sorry because it's just an overall sad case all around.
Yeah. And obviously the latest has kind of turned on her husband. And I definitely have thoughts on this. But to your point, even from a husband standpoint, it seems like there was the one video where they were at the aquarium and one of the boys falls on the ground and he literally just stands there and it could be said he didn't see it or whatever. Yeah. But she, as a mom, instinctively goes to help her kid. So a lot of people are using that as one example of he was kind of checked out and not paying attention. And she kept a diary and there's text to her parents and things like that. So it is very well documented. And she was prescribed a variety of different medications over the course of the last 3 to 5 years. For all 3 of her kids, she suffered from postpartum depression. So, like you said, if anything, it is clear that she needed help. She probably didn't get all of the attention and care that she needed, but in terms of the actual crime that is being tried, it is very interesting about the husband.
Feels like a movie. It's like watching a movie. It totally is. And I will say outside, because I watched that video and I do see, dad with his hands in his pocket. But I also see an active mom paying attention and trying her best. So again, it's really hard, but my heart really hurts because I'm just man, she loved her family.
Yeah.
So, but the side view of it is this is a Hollywood movie being set up right now. Could it really turn the way that all of the sleuths of the internet have kind of brought to our attention? And would we have noticed all of that if it weren't for the internet these days? Maybe
Probably not.
But now that it's brought to our attention, timing, the Apple Watch data and how it was on all day, but then just then it was off, and I'm oh, that is suspicious.
Yeah. And what you brought up about facts earlier, a lot of it is speculation, but a lot of people have been watching the trial because it's out there, right, on Court TV and YouTube. You can watch every single trial day and people are picking it apart, but they're picking it apart based on the testimony. And one of the theories is because if you watch it, Patrick Clancy basically contradicts a lot of the experts that the prosecution has called to testify. So you're thinking, are they that amateur that they're not prepping him with the proper line of questioning and the responses? But one of the theories now is that they know that they have the wrong person. So they're kind of setting themselves up for some potential retrial later of him because they think that he potentially could have done this. But also, if you reviewed the evidence, how did you not see this before?
Well,
right?
So there's also every time they're oh, her phone records show this, her search history is this, or the home computer was this. every part of me is like, well, what did his say? What was on his search history? But he's not on trial. So
Yeah.
there is a part of me that's like, what was the other side? Like three sides to every story. There is the other part of it where I'm like, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and see, because there's a part of me that's just like, oh my gosh, what, not only was she going through it, but like, did he make her feel like she was going crazy even more so than she maybe truly was? Like, that's scary. That's especially if it's somebody that you trust with your whole world.
Especially with all the medication that she was on.
And she was documenting. So I don't know. And she's a nurse. Like, she knows. So I don't know.
She knows these things. Yeah.
It's hard.
It's wild. But one of the new developments that came out in the last couple of days, obviously when this happened, the news was all over it. They were reporting. And a couple of days after this happened, one of the news stations in Boston interviewed her next door neighbor. And the next door neighbor had said that his son called him at 5:50 that night saying that he saw Lindsay on the ground outside. So that brought to light, part of the timeline, because that's a timeline to which they're reporting that what she supposedly did to the kids happened. But if she was already outside on the ground, that makes people like rethink the whole timeline. And I heard...
Well, then you start to think of the body temperature.
Yeah.
That comes back
all
in.
that stuff. Yeah. But oddly enough, the original neighbor passed away. And he didn't even seem that old. He seemed like he was maybe in his 50s, but he passed away. But I think I heard that the defense has the son now on the witness list, or that they're going to call when the defense comes up. So that's a new thing. And then also, Massachusetts has had some sketchy trials the last few years, right? Karen Reed being probably the most notable one. But Patrick Clancy sold that home. I don't know when. I think it was like within the next year after, or within the next few months after. But the person he sold it to was a former DA who knows like people involved with the current trial. So that like goes to the whole conspiracy thing too. And also like Massachusetts, just like corruption, right? Which we clearly saw in the Karen Reed trial with the state troopers and things like that. So yeah, not a good look for Massachusetts. But yeah, the defense is bringing their witnesses now. The prosecution rested their case. But like every day something new comes out because of these internet sleuths. And it's good and bad, right? Because people like drum up these crazy stories. But also I feel like it's good because they wouldn't have found Gabby Petito's body if there wasn't...
Exactly.
For that YouTube footage.
I was thinking of that case too. If it wasn't for that, and if it weren't for people saying, hey, was anybody here at this time? And people are going back through like, oh, I actually was there. Like, let me look. And then you like see their van and holy cow, you know what I mean? Like chills, full body chills, as crime junkies would say.
Yeah. I need to get some of their merch. Like they released like a whole bunch of merch and I want to go in the store and buy it. Not that, unaliving is a fun thing, but I do have a paralegal degree. So I do have some knowledge of the law, although it's not practicing.
I think it's just very interesting. And I think it's just like human nature to wonder why that happened, especially when you might personally feel like you're, normal, right? Just as Lindsay looked and presented as a normal, woman, and she was for all intents and purposes, but it makes you wonder. And so then you get curious, and curiosity is just part of us. So yeah, I'm interested in it.
Yeah. And then all the social media and the technology and all of that stuff just blows it up exponentially. But yeah, crazy. Like I said, I'm sure we'll hear more, and I'm very curious to see how this one... If anything, I will say that this guy, Reddington, like created enough reasonable doubt for me. And the original thing that they're trying to prove is that whether or not she was sane or not when this happened. So I don't know if that's like diluting the whole purpose of what the original charges are, but I think there's enough reasonable doubt here that...
He's so good. He is so good. He's just like reminds me of my dad. You know what I mean? He's like, he's just like fighting for the people. I'm like, yes.
And this isn't the first case too that he's had of like a woman who's been put on trial for postpartum or mental health things. So he's very familiar, I think, with this type of situation. So fighting for the ladies, I appreciate that, whether or not she, we'll see
Well, if
what
nothing
it
at
comes
all,
up
it definitely brings awareness to,
with the
what
medical
what can
issues.
happen. Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And the severity of it, for real.
Yeah. Well, that was our little crime junkies fix. I couldn't not have Britt on the episode and not talk about one of our joint passions. In the second golf adjacent, and the reason why I put this in here, Steph Curry, who we always say Britt's husband looks like a Puerto Rican Steph Curry. But Steph
He
Curry
does.
and Malbon just signed a collab. Malbon's one of like the newer up and coming golf wear. They kind of revert back to like the 90s kind of streetwear style. And Steph
Ooh,
Curry's brand
vibey.
just signed a little collab. I don't know if you've ever seen the Steph Curry logo, but it's kind of like I don't know, but it's like, how S and C has a swirl. So it's like it kind of looks
Hmm.
like a little hurricane swirl. But then, so now they put the Malbon golf ball in the swirl. You can look it up later, but yes. But I
I'm
wanted to
definitely going
mention
to.
that because we both love
I
Steph
was about to
Curry,
pick up
but
my phone.
since you're married to him, we had to bring it up. So, well,
Love
getting
it.
to the actual golf updates of the week.
Sports.
Yay, Britt's favorite topic.
Oh,
The
wait.
first, yeah.
This is in my cup.
What is it? A Pinot?
Just a cab
Oh, just a cap.
from Paso Robles. It's
is it
Josh. Very
Justin?
fancy.
Okay, one of the J's.
It's not
We love
Justin.
Josh, but we love
So,
we love
cheers.
Josh too. Cheers. I just have water.
I also have. I also was going to say I have my bottle of water and
Cheers.
my sticker.
We are a big fan of it, especially at this age, man. Anytime I have the opportunity to give a little Irish goodbye,
I'm like, ooh, do I want to do all the small talk or can I just dip out when no one's looking?
yeah, or not even make it to the event. If I'm not committed, I'm not even going. I'm not even changing my outfit, staying in my cozies. But we have a little
cozies.
A little nod to Ireland later when we talk about the Solheim Cup. But this past weekend was the first event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. It was the FedEx St. Jude's tournament. And one thing, Britt, that I think you will like about this tournament, as you probably know, St. Jude's is a children's research hospital, mostly cancer research. They have kids that come there that are going through cancer treatments. They provide a lot of extras for the families, like long-term stay, because usually when, you have a child that's going there, they're usually there for a while because they're going through treatments and testing and things like that. But one of the special things about this tournament is the caddy bibs all have drawings from kids who are at St. Jude's Hospital. So if you were watching the tournament this weekend, it wasn't the normal sponsorship, but you had, colorful drawings on the back of the caddy bibs. So, and there she goes.
I know. You really can't take me anywhere. I just think that is just so sweet. And, St. Jude is amazing because what they're doing and providing for families is really an amazing thing because nobody expects that their child is going to get sick.
Yeah.
And nobody or most people have not saved or allotted time off of work and have the insurance and all of this extra funds to support that type of treatment and overnight stays and food and, all of that. So then you hear that part and you're like,
yeah,
are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's just a little
So
extra
sweet.
Comfort and care during a time where you said you never imagine that you're going to have to, be put in that situation. And like you said, most of them are probably never prepared for it unless it's something that they notice like at birth or something like that. But
exactly.
Usually the situations are definitely unexpected. But Ted Scott, who is Scottie Scheffler's caddy, he has this thing that he does on social media every Sunday called Sunday Sermon. And he brought this up because it was hot as Hades in Memphis over the weekend. I think it was like 110 humidity. The players were sweating before they even got to the first tee. And the caddies have to wear these bibs. But on the first day, one of the other caddies or players asked him if he wore the bib. And he's like, no, I didn't wear it. It was hot, blah, blah. And then he thought about it looking back and he realized that the kids had the drawings on the bibs and he felt bad about it. So obviously he made it a point to make sure he wore the bib. And he said, I hope that kid sees his drawing on my bib this week. And it was just kind of like a step back moment where a lot of the times you're not, you're kind of just, it's not like selfish, but you're just kind of going, right? You're going about your day and your job and you're not thinking about the broader. And yeah, it was hot as heck in Memphis. So you don't want to wear this extra layer. And that's what he was kind of thinking about in the moment. But taking a step back, he's like, oh, like a sick child. Like
I
that
would
could
rather
be the,
sweat.
yeah,
Exactly.
like that's the highlight of their day, seeing, dang it, now I'm getting teary.
And well,
And I
it's
don't
not,
do
I
this.
wouldn't say it's, I know, but it's not just the highlight of the kids' day, but it's the family too, because they get to
Yeah.
see the support and the love that's out there. So, sometimes we have to take a step back, and I'm happy that he did, because
Yeah.
that's tough. And anyway, move along.
But on the 18th hole too, the course TPC Southwind has houses along the course, and all the houses along the 18th fairway and green all say like "We love St. Jude," and they have all these signs and stuff, and that's become a tradition. So just a little feel good. But the other feel-good moment is our winner, Scottie Scheffler, who he won the very first event of the PGA Tour season way back in January. We hadn't even filmed the first episode of this podcast yet. But that was his first win, and he's number one in the world. He's consistent in scoring averages and rankings and things like that. And he's had 5 second-place finishes. Everyone's like, well, when's Scottie gonna win? When's Scottie gonna win? And the first event of
Not
this playoffs,
second place.
yeah, he wins this tournament, and not only wins it, but he wins it by the largest margin of any tournament. I think it was 8 strokes since the January tournament here in San Diego at Torrey Pines. I think $3.6 million. He also passes Rory McIlroy to be second in all-time career earnings, the money list. He's only $1 million behind Tiger Woods. And if he wins one more event because the purses are so big, he's going to be number one, because all the purses for men's is over $1 million. So he just needs to win another tournament.
And without the negative headlines, we can appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. Also, the third youngest player to 21 wins behind, well, Tiger Woods, I think, got it at 24. And then Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson. So in addition to just winning this tournament, he has all of these accolades. And it's the first win since his second son, Remy, was born. So when he won, his wife, Meredith, and his oldest son, Bennett, and little Remy, they all, Meredith was like, yay, dada. So it was super cute. And we miss Bennett.
A note here too, that he tied the course record.
Oh, yes, he did. 61, I think, on Friday. Yeah. Good job, you.
It was on Friday. It was like, I think it was his third day. Hold on, let me check my notes. Yes, it was Friday. Sorry, it was his second day, but Friday.
Look at you, Britt, bringing the golf stats.
I know. It's like, here I am.
Sports.
And that his putting was like kind of like the big game changer.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that, actually. Look at you.
Excuse me, let me mind my business.
No, you're good. Amanda and I have been talking about this all for most of the season, how Scottie's putting has been dropping off, and it's no coincidence that this weekend was his best, I think, putting percentage. So you are exactly correct, Mrs. Amaro, that the putting was on point. And it was a little, because when he started, he was two shots in the lead. But on the 4th hole, he was chipping, and the ball hit a sprinkler head and had a gnarly bounce and bounced into the water. So he lost a stroke and he bogeyed. So I was like, oh no, here we go. But everyone else kind of faltered behind him. But the other big story was he was paired with his bestie, Sam Burns, on Sunday. And one of the questions that the commentators were asking was, since they're such best friends, normally they share a house, when they go to these tournaments. They've shared a house at this particular event before, but now they just have kids busting at the seams. Sam has 2 now, too. So they can't share one house anymore. But one of the questions was, would it help him to play with someone that he's familiar with and he can chat it up? Or is it better to not be with your best friend so you can focus? And it made me think of us, like if we were professional golfers and we were paired together, do you think it would help you or would it hurt you to play with me on a final day?
Because I know I am not. See.
Yeah.
I know we are not professionals. So I feel like that is where I'm like, haha.
Yeah, like,
I don't know
sure.
that I'd be able to focus my best. But then again, I might be able to focus better because I'm with someone that I feel myself with and I feel the most comfortable with. So I don't know. However, I did look up the stats
Mm,
of how they did. And on that Sunday, Sam shot a 73
not
and
good.
Scottie shot a 66. And that was Sam's highest. He was a 67, a 70, a 62, and then a 73. So let's just say I am Sam and you are Scottie because I'm like, hee, I'm with my
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah, I saw them like chatting it up because usually you don't see the players interacting too much, but I did see Scotty and Sam exchange, conversations as they were walking. But similar to you, I play better when I'm more relaxed and not really thinking about the golf so much. But knowing us and how we just laugh over like stupid shit all the time for like minutes where we forget what we were even laughing about. But I think that's the context of us in this, right? It's not the context of us as professional golfers.
Well, yes,
So
because then I was like, well, I mean, if $10 million is on the line, like,
yeah,
zip my lips and put a sock in it. I am not speaking. I
yeah.
am focused.
But I think as professionals too, like as Sam probably saw Scotty kind of running away with this, he probably knew that he maybe shouldn't interact so much or do certain things and just let Scotty focus. So I think as friends, we would probably know that too, right? Like we know each other well enough that if I see you're in a certain mode and whatnot, like I'm not gonna disrupt your flow. Like I'm just gonna let you do
Right.
what it do. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever be put in this
Like, I was just
situation.
going to say, well, then it kind of depends on the mood. Like, no, I don't want that. I'm going to be like, yes, you do. You sure? I'll be your inner voice on each side.
Well, when we go to Tampa in a few weeks and we have the mini golf course at our house, we can put this to the test with Brian in the background and
See how good I do at
Rig.
my putting game.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought that was interesting, but I think Scotty's he has a pretty like even keel mindset. So I think either way, like he would be able to figure it out. But I thought that was interesting. And it makes the player of the year conversation a little bit more interesting because before this win, he was in the conversation, but he didn't really have the wins that the other contenders do. Now he has a win. He is the defending champion of next week's event at Bellerive in St. Louis, the BMW Championship. So if he runs the table with this FedEx Cup playoffs, I think there's no discussion argument anymore about Scotty. So just can never count out number one, man.
I was
Always
going to
gotta
say, I think he's doing all right.
keep an eye. Yeah, exactly. Well, you mentioned Sam Burns 73. He's still tied for third place, which is a cool few $100,000. So good on Sam.
Is that all?
Yeah,
That is
you play.
so cool.
Obviously, it's tough, but it's kind of crazy to think about. You play 4 rounds of golf in a weekend and you win like $800,000. Isn't that bananas? It's tough. I'm not going to say it's not tough.
Well,
But
that's what I was going to say. I'm like, that's crazy because you're like, oh, it's like the love of the game. But then you have extra pressure on you because you're like, wait, this is how I'm supporting my family,
yeah, so wild to think about. Sungjae Im was the only one to play his way into the BMW next week. So the top 50, so it started at 70 for this tournament. The top 50 after this week go to next week. And Sungjae was 53 to start before he went into this weekend. But with I think he was second place, he jumped to number 40. So he makes it into the top 50. There wasn't a lot of other movement around. Even Rory, who finished third from last place, only dropped 2 spots from his 11th place to 13th. So there wasn't too much more movement. But the other big thing about the FedEx tournament is that after next year, it's moving down to, so in 28, which you probably aren't up to speed with. But in 28, they're changing the way the PGA Tour schedule is. They're going to have 2 tracks. They're going to have this Champion Tour track, which is like the elite events. And then they're going to have a Challenger track, which is like the lesser tournaments. And this FedEx tournament is, well, I don't even know if it's going to be FedEx anymore, but this tournament is moving down to the Challenger track. So that was a big thing. You know, obviously we talked about FedEx being the big sponsor. We talked about everyone's affiliation and support of St. Jude. So there's a lot of feelings behind it moving.
I was going to say that could, you know, come off as kind of a big letdown unless there's a good in between or backup method to kind of make them all happy. Please excuse me if you keep seeing me move. I have
Hey, Penny.
My dog
Hi, Penny.
is just behind me this whole time, and she's just like, I'm like, oh gosh, Jesus, my neck.
It would not be a thing without Penny, because Penny doesn't know the definition of personal space by any means. No. She's always burrowed in there.
I would also argue that nobody in this house really knows that either, but you know, that's another discussion, another podcast.
You're a very, very cuddly family.
Yes.
But we love it.
But I love love. So, you know, I don't want to complain.
Yeah. We love all the cuddles.
Yes, we do.
Other FedEx standing notables, the first one out was Keith Mitchell. Jordan Spieth, who we always talk about on this podcast, was 52, so he's out next week. Max Homa, who has not been playing his best the last couple years, he dropped out at 53. But I'll say for Max, this has been one of the better seasons. He's bouncing back a little bit. So despite not being in next week's BMW Championship, I think it's still notable that he had a fairly good season and he's making his way back in there. So on the women's side, they were playing in Portland, Oregon, contrary to me saying Washington last week. Know your geography, Tiffany. Portland is in Oregon. But the winner was Jeeno.
But they're all like up there, you know? So it's just like
Pacific Northwest. Well, because we were talking about the fires and the smoke coming down because, you know, they had the Canadian wildfires. And in Spokane, they were having all these big fires too. So I was like, oh, is that going to impact? And then I realized we're in a completely different state. But it didn't seem to impact the tournament this past weekend in Portland, Oregon.
You could have said Maine.
Yeah, true. And they would have impact. Oh, I don't know if the Canadian wildfires are still going on. I don't think so. I think they
definitely had some. I know I've totally switched us, but they definitely did have some sort of impact in Massachusetts because it was like dark and dreary there for
like orangey
for
skies.
A few days. Yes, like from that, I want to say like a few weeks ago, but
yeah. Not to take us completely off track, but we had that here yesterday too. I had all my windows open because it's been Satan's butthole here for the last 2 weeks. Similar to Florida. Here. Yeah. We are maybe like his butt crack. You're his butthole. But so I've had all my windows open and I was like smelling smoke, but I thought it was like somebody barbecuing because it was around dinner time. Come to find out, there was this big brush fire in Sereno Valley, which is only like 20 minutes from me. And I think it's like 25% contained, but they just released a story today that they arrested like a 30-year-old man for setting the fire. And I'm like, do people not have anything better to do than just like, we obviously saw the devastation in the Palisades a couple years ago, but like, come on, guys, like, let's be a little bit more productive with our time than, you know, setting brush fires and doing stupid crap.
Absolutely. But also, I think it's like amazing that they can figure out who did it.
Yeah. Well, like with the Palisade fire, I think it was actually UCSD. They had like cameras in the canyons because they do track, I don't know, wildlife and
probably the animals or something. And
yeah. So I don't know how they caught this guy. I'll have to go back. It's probably going to be on the news tonight, but I'll keep you posted. But yes, it is interesting because obviously it's something hard to, because once the fire starts, it's hard to know like the origin and especially if it's a wildfire. Anyways, way off track, but related. I thought it was a barbecue and it was a friggin' brush fire.
And this is how we know we maybe would not do well paired together as a team.
Yeah, we'd be, talking and then completely forget to finish out a hole. And there goes $1 million
squirrel?
for me. Yeah, exactly. But getting back to the golf, Jeeno Thitikul was the winner. She is a former number one. I think she's in the top 10, but this is her third win of the season. It's her 10th overall. Woman after my own heart. She said that she would get a sushi dinner as a prize, but she's on a diet. So she would not be able to participate in said sushi dinner. But she won $300,000 for winning.
I mean,
so
I feel like, girl,
congratulations.
treat yourself. Treat yourself to some sushi.
Last week we were talking about the winner, and she said she was going to go drinking, and she doesn't have a problem. Let me emphasize that. Not a drinking problem, but she likes a beverage. So she said she was gonna, have a time and drink. Yeah, exactly. You should have told me, and I would have broken out a glass as well. But
I shouldn't have to tell you at this point. But
that is fair. Our ESP failed. Also on the women's side, more of the USA team for the Solheim Cup, which is USA versus Great Britain and Ireland. We had 2 qualifiers already, but Austin Kim, who is going to be a rookie this year, and Yulimi No qualified, in addition to Angel Yin, Jennifer Kupcho, and Allison Corpus. And I think there's 2 more spots left for qualifiers, which will be determined after the tournament in Canada this weekend. So that was my going back to the Irish goodbye. That was my reference because the team that the U.S. is playing against is Great Britain and Ireland, which is interesting because the Ryder Cup for the men is U.S. against all of Europe. So I'm curious as to why the women just do Great Britain and Ireland and not, I'll have to research that, but not the entirety of Europe. I was just going to say,
that sounds like a Google ChatGPT search.
Yeah.
Coming up, for sure.
Yes.
But, I love Europe and Ireland.
We're going to have to add that to our list of places. We have so many places we want to go. Gosh, to make it happen.
So many places, so little time, so little budget.
So little money. We need to get on the tour and win these $1 million purses. But by then,
if we did that, my piggies.
Well, okay. I have one other question for you as a girl mom. But before that, going into this week, we mentioned the BMW Championship, Bellerive in St. Louis. It's also going to be Satan's butt crack there. It's supposed to be really hot. Defending champion Scottie Scheffler, top 50 compete, and then the top 30 after this weekend go into the final event, the Tour Championship at Eastlake in Atlanta, which will also be hot and soupy. So the guys are just in for 3 weeks of hot misery and sweat and yuck. So.
I feel uncomfortable for them right now, and I'm not. Yeah. I'm inside an air-conditioned house.
Yeah, your air conditioning runs for like 6 months straight. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And the electricity bill is crazy.
Yeah. Even mine has gone up. Not obviously as much as yours because I am one and my house is smaller. But yes, I have noticed the difference as well because I have had mine on for the past 3 weeks. The LPGA this week, as we mentioned, in Edmonton, Canada, the CPKC. Don't even know what it stands for, but it's too long. CPKC Women's Open at Royal Mayfair Golf Club in Edmonton, Canada, which we need to go to Canada too. I know you've been, and I've been to Quebec, but that's not, it is Canada, but it's not Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. Right. So we need to go close to home too. The defending champion is Brooke Henderson. And before we get into the final announcement, what I wanted to ask you was, I don't know if you've seen, because back to school, we talked about it. Have you seen these colleges, mainly in the South, they're hiring like dorm decorators to make the dorms all fancy, like with all of the bedding? I've seen full area rugs. I've seen recliners. I've seen...
Oh, these must be at some fancy schools.
Yeah, I'm sure they're like University of Mississippi, South Carolina, like I said, a lot of schools in the South, but I'm sure it's all over. But it just makes, and the setup is the same as like when I was at UC Santa Barbara, right? It's the 2 wooden beds, the 2 desks, you get a bureau. And like the biggest thing for us was having like the cork board where you would put up your pictures of Justin Timberlake.
Or like a whiteboard.
Yeah. Yeah, the whiteboard on your door where you would put like Brittney and Tiffany's room, come on in. And like twinkle lights maybe. And I had like a little 20-inch like box TV. I'm old. And that was the big thing because everyone
had a VCR in it. No, just kidding.
It did not have
Or did
a VCR. No, because at that time everyone was putting CDs into their laptops because the laptops still had the CD drawers, so we would play DVDs on laptops. Anyways, Brittney, yeah, I've been seeing all of these like crazy rooms, and I've been reading the comments, and a lot of it is negative because they're like, well, this is the decline of Gen Z, and like this will last 2 weeks, and then there'll be beer stains and vomit all over it. I'll admit I'm a little jelly. Like the rooms look great, and would I have loved it? Yes, but I do think also it is a little extra because you don't want to be spending all that time in your dorm room anyways.
Okay.
You know?
So I didn't see those videos specifically. However, I did see a bunch of videos where the girls are talking about their fit and what they're wearing. And they're like, oh, and this is David Yurman, and this is Tiffany, and this is, and you know what I mean?
Yes,
they're naming like all of these brands that they're wearing. And I'm like, that's like a down payment on my car, maybe.
Yeah. This is my Casio watch.
What? Yes.
Yes, I have seen those too. A lot of them are like the sorority pledge events.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense, obviously, because you know like what it is. But at the same time, I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. I wouldn't even know, like some of that stuff. I was just like, what? Where did you even get that? Okay.
Yeah. This is, my top is Shein. My shoes are Temu. And
yeah, exactly. I got this from Amazon.com. Very fancy.
Yeah, Prime membership, Prime.
I was just going to say, probably during Prime week, actually.
Yeah, 1 day overnight delivery. Yeah, I'll say I am a little bit jealous. Like, that would be so nice to have. But then also I'm like...
Oh, of course.
There was one college, not to take us, again, completely derail us, but I think it's like the University of Michigan or some school that said that they're not going to grade kids like first semester because of like the mental health crisis. And I'm like... You're not going to give them grades because, like, there's got to be a better way. I think that's too over the top. And, like, the grading scale I've seen now for an A is, like, 84% to 100. An A when I was in school, an A minus was 90. And now they've dropped it to an 84%. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's almost, like, average.
Dude, like, the way I would be, like,
in my
a genius right now, there's probably going to be an A++ now.
Yeah, so I have thoughts.
I would need to like understand how they're doing that or why they're doing it more. Like, are they doing like a weighted average for that semester? Like, not just like not counting it because
Penny has thoughts.
See, Penny's
it's a very hot topic for
she
Penny.
Doesn't like it, but I would just want to know, like, is there like a weighted average? Because okay, if you're a brand new student, it's your first semester, like you're kind of like in your party days, you're meeting new people, like you're doing all the things that mom and dad don't need to know about. And then you're paying to be at school and you're not actually getting like graded toward it. Are you kidding me? And that's another thing. I mean, I can imagine parents would just be like, did I just send you to college for this?
Yeah. Because
there's going to be more behind it. 100%.
Yeah. First semester was so crazy for me. You're meeting new people and you're figuring out campus and you're going to all the parties. But if I'm not, again, like you said, there's probably more. But if I'm not held accountable to grades, that whole first semester is going to shit because like I already have all these things going on and then not having to worry about my grades. But I don't know. Different place.
You're typically at your entry level. Like you're typically at your entry level classes at that point, unless you come in as a genius, then you don't care about, you'd be like, no, grade me, right? But if you're going into like the, your regular classes and things, I mean, how much are we going to give trophies for, participation, right? There's that part.
Yeah. But regarding the dorms, my original question to you was going to be, since you are a girl mom and we love, and Reiki is very girly, would you do her room up like that? Would you make it all?
Listen, I want to say I wouldn't, but I would.
Yeah.
She has been asking for girly. I was hello, do you know me? I'm like, oh, guys, just like a chill night. And I'm like, have little cups made for everybody. And, like, I'm the cool mom. You guys keep me so young. Yeah, no, I would definitely do all of those things, probably for her roommate as well, just so that there was like, it was symmetric and nobody felt left out. And I would do it all for sure. And I would
I
be
had a
guilty.
feeling you would answer. That was going to be your answer. But who knows? By the time Ray goes to college, there might not even be college anymore. It might not even exist. So who
Well,
knows?
yeah, it's like everything comes full circle, right? It's like, oh, go to college, and then now it's like do the trades. So who
Yeah.
knows?
Well, I am going to end on a little announcement that I have for myself, going kind of back to St. Jude's. But starting, I guess, now through the end of September, I am participating in the Hitting 300 Golf Balls Challenge for American Cancer Society. So I know that 300 doesn't seem like a lot, but for me, that's at least 3 rounds of golf plus extra. So I have to hit 300 golf balls before the end of September. So I will be tracking on the Instagram account. And I will also drop in a link for anyone who wants to donate to the cause. We have a goal of $500 to start. Obviously, if we surpass, that's great. If you want to join me and hit some golf balls, that is great too. But when I saw this challenge, I was like, unfortunately, these days, I think all of us know someone directly or know someone through a friend of a friend. Like the degree of separation is very short now. And again, knowing someone directly who's been impacted by cancer, or again, friend of a friend of a family member, etc. So unfortunately, it hits very close to home for a lot of us. And I thought it was a great opportunity to marry something that I am passionate about, obviously golf, with a good cause. So I'm very excited to participate in this, and maybe we can get some in when I'm in Florida, whether it's a round of golf or at our Airbnb with the mini golf course, but we'll be tracking it. And again, I'll put the link and everything
We
in.
definitely can. And this is so
Yeah.
exciting. Like, I love that you're doing it. And yeah, okay, you might say 300 isn't a lot, but for
Yeah.
me, I think it's a lot. And regardless if it is or isn't, the whole point is to raise money.
Hmm.
And you're right. Like, everybody knows somebody that has been affected. And I think it's
Yeah.
worth, donating and helping people for sure.
Yeah. So looking forward to sharing that journey with all of you. Again, I'll drop the links on my social accounts so you all can donate if you want or just follow the journey. But I want to thank Britt and Petty for joining us today. And you'll definitely see more of
It's
us
like she heard you.
she heard the name, because I am headed to Florida in a couple of weeks. Britt and we've talked about it before, but we are going to see Britt's favorite artist, Bruno Mars, in Tampa while I'm there.
Peter
So,
G.
yeah, so we'll see all of that. But thank you all for joining us, and we will see you all back soon, probably next week, for our next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.